let's talk about your article. Um, what stood out to Mr. Samsel about the game day production? Because I had a couple things. I think most of my things are on your list. I think we're on the same page, but
I think it was the clean stuff. The stuff we knew wasn't going to happen, right? It wasn't going to be every sponsor, whatever else. This was the college football playoff event in Beaver Stadium. So there was that piece of cleanliness and spot on branding. The other thing that stood out, and it was kind of a negative. I don't know, maybe this is an old guy, young guy thing, and maybe this is me overthinking it. Like, probably the only negative for me was the uniforms. Like, those are the homecoming uniforms, right? Like, those are the homecoming uniforms. If you start doing this for other games, we've started a slippery slope to something else that may come, maybe. I don't know. I expected,
spicy.
and then with the branding, right? We still have the commercial, basic blues, blue, blue, blue. But no, it wasn't. That was the homecoming uniform. So I think that was what stood out for me, and the end zone change, right? Like, those are the things you notice for me in terms of branding stuff. I'm like, okay, so why are you changing it back? Why in your biggest moment of the year is it going back? So
Okay.
Otherwise, I think everything worked. Like, it did what it was supposed to do. It felt like it was produced well. Yeah.
I liked the jersey decision. I thought it was cool. Like, I thought the explanation and rationale. I bought the.
So I missed it. So what was the rationale?
It was James Franklin said it was about everybody that has played and.
Oh, okay. So that was the 40s, 50s, 60s quote. Or 60s,
Yeah.
70s quote.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was about that, and I thought that was pretty neat because I thought, in terms of all of this stuff kind of colliding and coming together, I thought that was a good answer. I thought it was a neat, subtle touch. I had argued the year that Franco died, which is the year that Penn State went to the Rose Bowl. I said Penn State should wear those jerseys at the Rose Bowl because that would be a cool way to honor Franco. And I don't know. I thought the callback, the recognition. There was a video earlier in the week about this is all where it started in terms of We Are, which you can debate the history of, right? But I think that if we're accepting that story, I think that was neat to kind of tie in that way. I still don't like the pants. That's my only issue. I wish they would have just worn the clean white pants. But I thought it is funny that they wore the white shoes, even though it said black shoes on that video as well. No,
I get it. I didn't have it. I wasn't putting the quote in context with that because I missed that piece of it. I was leaning that into the next time of like, this is where college football still happens, or basically whatever else he says, it's a real college football program here, where I was leaning that toward. So I'll buy the explanation. I do like, that's my old guy thing. Like, this is what the uniforms look like. This is what makes us distinctive. This is your biggest shot, whatever. Yeah. All those ones in those times, for the most part, I know there were more often than not look like the regular ones, right? So, and that's nitpicky, right? For the most part, I think the highlight was it came off well. It was smooth. It seemed to work. All those things.
I think my biggest takeaway, and you said it there, was how clean everything was. It was, none of it was excessive. None of it was grandiose. It was like a stripped down version of a normal game day presentation, but also some ways a better version. There weren't 600 different things going on. I had said this, I think tweeted this or texted you this, like, the biggest, best part was the fact that the ribbon boards just said college football playoff, first round, and that was it. That was all they said, unless like Penn State scored a touchdown or like make some noise showed up on them. It was not 600 different colors flashing at me, and I know that sounds grumbly and a little old guy-ish, but like it's a little annoying, and I appreciated that they just kind of let things be and as is. And I think it actually added to the, oh yeah, we're here for this thing, not to be sold a bunch of ads, which yes, you could make that argument any different ways with the Allstate logo, etc. But I thought that was one of the big things. One of the other things that we had heard, and I think you had teed up before the game, was there's going to be fewer people on the sidelines. It didn't really it doesn't necessarily take away or add anything to the fan experience. It was just so noticeable how many people weren't on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And And it
That's
was like,
true.
this is kind of nice. It's kind of not as
No,
annoying.
I mean that's what I'm because we get up where like you're just kind of wild. You can take it all, you see it all, right?
Right.
So I saw the sidelines. I'm like, damn, that looks bare. And I looked like people. Some of the photographers were hanging out inside and didn't come out till they needed to, right? So it got a little busier once the game really started. But yeah, like, and I appreciate again, but again, it's them selling. It's monetizing. Like, let's get the donors down there. Let's get the Letterman down there. Let's do whatever. Let's have the recruits come in. And I understand the purpose of all of that. It just the game presentation looks better when it doesn't look when a kid goes out of bounds and you don't lose him in the crowd, right? Like it's just you can still see where he went, and that's all.
No, I agree with that. It was starkly different. It was starkly noticeable that it was different. Um, I think all of the worrying about I missed we did not get to our seats in time for the SMU video. It seemed like Penn State played the SMU video much earlier than when Ohio State played it, judging by what we were watching on the TV. Ohio State seemed to play theirs when Tennessee ran out onto the field. Thought that was a funny, interesting difference. All of that hoopla, no, that all felt like a home game. I think that was a big takeaway. For me, I kind of actually like the longer halftime. You said you were a little annoyed about the number of
Just
TV.
every commercial was like every
It,
commercial was 250 or 3, right? I mean
yeah,
250, 245. And I get it, like, but now we're so used to side by side anymore, right? Or action when it's happening. I think from the broadcast standpoint, there's got to be a sponsor somewhere, and there's probably a value to have a quarter presented by somebody, right? I mean, I guess that gets you less sponsors, but make them pay more and let them be on the screen. And I know they're producing TV shows that are going to be seen by I don't know maybe 10 million people once the numbers come out. But I don't know, do some respect for the people in the stands too, and then not make it such a just I don't know, it was just drudgery at times. Like, oh, okay, here we go, right? And I was like, good old red hat guy. I'm like, stop it,
yeah.
get off the
Get
field,
off the
right?
field. No, I thought that
The
was.
band, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you want to go ahead? Let's talk about the band because I know you're judging by the article, you were particularly fired up about that.
And it's funny because we kind of walked in with them. Like we ended up talking to a couple kids as we're walking
Mm-hmm.
across the bottom to get to you. And I look at these kids carrying their stuff, and we're on the ground level, right? And I'm thinking, damn, these kids got to take their stuff up. And they didn't. The person that was leading them had to ask a couple people along the way, like where to go. Like I I guess I understand that those 100 seats aren't going to be sold because you put the band in them, but it's friggin' college football. Don't make the band come down 3 levels, or don't make them go up 3 levels, come down 3 levels, whatever else. Stick them in a corner somewhere. Stick them in the end zone. I know Penn State fans were there. Stick them in the end zone where we stick the alumni band, right? Or something. Just make it easy for everybody. It looks, I don't know whose decision it was, and it might have been the CFP's. It just looks petty and dumb.
I don't disagree with you. I thought it was kind of funny, but I don't disagree
Yeah,
with you. I
It is,
think
but
if
be
you're
better. That's
traveling all
all.
the way from Texas, it's a little bit disrespectful to stick them literally at the top of the stadium. Maybe throw them in the empties behind where the SMU lower bowl section was. I understand also why you didn't necessarily do that because the student section's right there, and
Right.
you want to try to prevent issues. One of the things that I was like very curious about and was paying attention to as a subplot of the game was when were they going to go down for halftime? There
Right.
were 14 minutes left in the second quarter when they started their march down for halftime. That's how much time they needed. And I thought that was pretty funny to note and see. So that was I understand. I understand your logic behind that, and I wondered if I don't know if that's SMU's full band size. It seemed kind of a
It seemed a little
medium.
late, and I don't know that we had that question with that. I don't know if we had that question with them. Like some girl we were talking to was from up north, Minnesota or something, and ended up at SMU because of family ties, right? So we were talking about her, how it wasn't
Yeah,
cold and whatever else. But it was just, pleasant college kids doing whatever else. And again, they're some of the kids, the people that kind of get stuck in this whole thing, right? They aren't getting paid to play. They're there to produce part of the show and be the
right.
pageantry. And yeah, but while you're here, just go sit up there, carry your stuff, and do whatever, and probably take a band from take a bus from Harrisburg or whatever. I don't know. Like we want the band to have that college football pageantry, but then we want to like treat them kind of like dirt when they're there. It just felt like it could have been better.
I thought it was no. Um, I'm trying to think. There are a couple other things in your article. I do want to give a quick shout out that I think, like, back to the Tony Rojas play. That if you weren't in the stadium, you can faintly hear on the TV that, and I think was an impressive call. That somebody made the decision when Rojas is at the like 5 yard line to hit the Zombie Nation button, and so that it was already playing by the time he crossed the end zone. And I just thought that was like very good game awareness of like, we're gonna do this thing and take a chance at it, because he had to beat one more tackle there. And I just thought that was an impressive decision, and a neat little thing. One of the other things I think that you called out in your article that I think is a fantastic idea, the BJC opening that up and letting people kind of hang out there, especially if it was the 4 o'clock game or the 8 o'clock game. I think that would have been an excellent idea. Or Pagula. Well, I guess Pagula. Well, the only thing is, did graduation screw this up?
Commencement was right. That would have been the issue for both of them, and I get that, but you don't. I don't know. It just seems, and again, there's a labor challenge in this market, right? There's getting people to work or volunteer. But Notre Dame had opened. Again, a good point by you. Notre Dame played the night game, and it had opened a bunch of buildings around the stadium for warming stuff, right? Like for people to kind of come in and hang out. But the Jordan Center, again, it's probably, I'm sure it was commencement that made it impossible. But even if you open the concourse and open up like concession stands, right? Get some money for yourself from the concessions. Close. It's commencement weekend. Sorry, can't get you in the seats, but I don't know. You probably get a couple thousand people around the concourse, and they'd probably be happy to buy some chicken baskets or something just to keep warm. And there's some found money. Again, maybe it's not found depending on how much you have to pay people to work and whatever else. It's just those kind of things. Again, hardy Penn State fans, God bless them. I saw pictures on people's social media all over all 4 sides of the stadium, whatever else, out, happy to be doing what they're doing and doing their heaters and whatever else. I just think there's a couple touches like that probably could have been, oh, wow, they thought of this too. Mm-hmm. And maybe they did think of it and just didn't do it because they couldn't. So I get that, but at the same time.
No, I think that would be, that's one of the things I've noticed about Penn State, that, and that's more so campus location of the stadium. A lot of the other Big Ten schools, like all of the, like at Ohio State in particular, I remember like we've gone into a couple different of their buildings because they're just open and it's right near campus, and the stadium's on truly like a more ingrained part of campus. I think was interesting, or was nice as an opposing fan when it was cold to warm up. I had another thought there. Oh, the one thing that I did notice, which is a good learning note for if this happens again in the future, we went in our normal gate F, which has been pretty quick all year. Like I think the longest time we had to wait was maybe 5 minutes for, I think it was Washington. It was rough. It took us probably 10 minutes to get from the back of the line to scan your tickets, and then another 10 minutes to get through the security. And I think that goes back to your point of they did not have the resources were smaller in terms of number of people that they could have to man those things. So you were kind of more funneled. So that would be my big like game day entry getting into the stadium note. Traffic after the game was a little rough, but that was kind of relatively expected. Traffic getting into the game was much smoother, and I think it was because it was colder than the Ohio State game, and I think people kind of knew that it kind of backfired almost to get there too early. You kind of need to kind of spread it out. People were being more logical and spreading it out that way. So, yeah. Anything else game day production? Anything from your article? That I thought your article was a good summary of that.
No,